Converted man here?
It's the converted man.
Converted man here. Special thanks to Paul the Skeptic for not only the title of this video, but also for the video segment that I'll be featuring in this video. Link to his channel will be in the description below. Are the gods thirsty? Well, they must be, because people have been trying to feed them milk for quite some time. And unfortunately for them, statues do not consume milk. But ask any Hindu, and you'll be told that in fact the statues are drinking the milk, even though we know for a fact that they're not. Not only do we know that they're not drinking the milk, but we know the scientific explanation of how this works and what's really going on. Before I complain more about this, here's Paul the Skeptic.
The gods must be thirsty? Now, first of all, what kind of miracle is this? Statues of Hindu gods drink milk? Why don't they come to life and sing a little song or something? Maybe they can answer questions about life, the universe, and everything. Maybe this seems impressive, but I can make a statue of a giant turd drink milk. It's called capillary action. The lips of the statue break the surface tension of the milk and sort of suck it over the edge, where it proceeds to drip down the chin and body of the statue. This phenomenon is well understood and is used in many industries, including engineering and blood collection. Maybe you've seen them take a sample to test when giving blood. If you look closely, you can see a huge pile of milk splashing around beneath the cow. I believe this miracle has been utterly demystified.
What is it about miracle claims like this that people find so attractive, and not just that people believe that this is a real miracle, but people will defend that it's a miracle despite the evidence that you could give them to the contrary? They'll shrug it off. They'll say, you're a liar, you've been fooled. Well, maybe that statue wasn't doing it, but the statue I saw was a real god, and it really was doing it, and you just don't believe, and you don't understand because you're not one of us, and whatever. And this is not unique to the Hindu faith as far as believing in superstitious claims. The advantage, if you will, to monotheistic claims, at least the Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, Muslim faith, is that all of the miracles are not around anymore. They've already happened, so we don't get to look at them and break down what's not happening. We don't get to dismantle them and make blatant fun of them and say, no, that's not how it really works. A good question to ask is, why do people believe? Well, because they're told to believe at a very young age, typically. And even if you have the mindset to not believe what you're told as a younger child, which does occur, it's still awfully hard to say no when everyone else around you is saying yes. A great example of this can be found in the essay by Langston Hughes called Salvation. Link to that will be in the description below as well. If you haven't read it, you need to read it. Even if you're, and especially if you're a person of faith, you need to read it. What are, or what is a miracle? As far as I can tell, there isn't such a thing. The definition found in most dictionaries of miracle is almost identical to that of magic, yet we're told, oh, don't make that comparison. Well, why not? It's there. They're the same. They're equivalent. But some people actually believe in magic. But you can't tell if it's a miracle. You can't tell if it's magic unless you get to study it, and you're not allowed to study it. And miracles are supposed to be rare and so bizarre, uncommon, that to identify one would be impossible. And things that we thought were miracles, like St. Elmo's fire, lightning, thunder, and rainbows. Yes, of course, rainbows, because that's in the Bible. Gotta explain the rainbow somehow. These things were thought to be miraculous, but they're not anymore. They're ordinary things. They're things that we understand better, and every single time that we thought it was supernatural, it has turned out to be very natural indeed. And I prefer truth over myth. I prefer facts over fiction. Now, I don't mind watching a fantasy show, but I know it's fantasy as I watch it, and when it's over, I know that it was fantasy, and I don't apply it or try to apply it to my life. The difference between the skeptic and the one that believes is the skeptic can be persuaded to change their mind based on repeatable tests or empirical observed evidence, something solid, something concrete. But the believer will never change their position. That statue really did drink that milk, and how dare you suggest otherwise? And whether it be a Hindu miracle or a Christian miracle or any other miracle, they're all identical. They don't happen, and if they ever did happen, there was more than likely a naturalistic explanation for it. But many of these stories are simply made up, and thus they never occurred in the first place. To try to sit there and say, well, but if it did happen, then that proves there's a God? No, it doesn't. Because we don't know the explanation for that miracle. And to say, well, but the book or the scripture or the rhyme or the thing that we have always known for the entire time that we've existed says otherwise is nothing more than a circular argumentation. It is a belief and nothing more. The gods continue to be thirsty worldwide, and people continue to try to give the gods liquid of all sorts. I would say, let's stop giving the gods the liquid of our brains and start using that ourselves. Because the gods aren't drinking it, so we might as well. Unless and until we have repeatable tests, empirical evidence, or a logically coherent argument, we should be skeptical of the claim.